Thank you so much, Niraj ji, for that amazing slideshow and video. You covered so many various topics, be it cybersecurity, cloud computing, 5G, AI. I think you've gone so deep into each topic in the tech world that it has left all of us inspired and more eager to learn more about technology and the upcoming changes in the digital world coming up in the 21st century. And as you can see, I think the chat is buzzing with questions and their views on these very interesting concepts. So, if you don't mind, let's just take as many as we can before you have to head.
Sounds good, Vedant. Yeah, and I didn't, thank you for that. I didn't even touch metaverse yet. I mean, that's a whole nother presentation I would do. And, it's also buzzing. That area is also buzzing. I hope people could grasp it. And let's dive into the questions. Vedant, if you could ask them and just let me know who's the person who asked them, then I'll answer them one by one, if that's okay.
For sure.
Thank
so, Mahesh said that he is very interested to hear about your security concerns with IoT from your side. He says that, increasing connectivity is amazing, but he's worried whether hacks could jeopardize a network.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a very good question, Mahesh. There has been a breach, but this was early days of IoT. There were about 4,000 cameras for a departmental chain store that was global. And somebody, these are sensor-based cameras, somebody had hacked into it and they were round robbing between each other. So yeah, it's possible, but it's the way to do that is, you have to design your network properly. You can't have a novice go set up IoT devices. It cannot be on the IP, that is the open internet. So there are certain protocols in IoT like LoRaWAN, and I won't get into the depth of it. It's not that relevant here. But if there are certain protocols which are private protocols that are not on the internet. So if followed properly and the right way of configuration is done, it's going to be very hard to hack. But good point. Absolutely important that as things go digital in the sensor-based world, you don't want your car and your TV to be hacked in. So yeah, good question. But there are quite a few steps of a security framework when implemented properly. So I would leave it up to the professionals to do it.
Perfect. I hope that answers your question, Mahesh. So, Tanmay is saying that he is worried about some of the disadvantages of growing technology. I think his question is generic. He's probably talking about the cybersecurity risks you mentioned, maybe unemployment due to technologies, etc. So, do you want to touch upon this topic a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to get into cybersecurity. In fact, I put cybersecurity in there because, think about it. Who's this asking? This is Tanmay, right? Think about this. If things are going digital, then you need to have a security framework around it. So the more things are getting digital, the more vulnerabilities it could have. So absolutely, I think cybersecurity is a huge area and also a career area if some of you guys want to look into it and pursue. But I see that scope increasing. Every major big four, you talk to Ernst & Young, you talk to IBM, Microsoft, you talk to some of the customers we've spoken to, be it Dow Chemical, Tata Steel, around the world, the stock exchange. This is the cybersecurity is a huge area, and there are multiple. It's defense in depth. So you're not going after just firewalls or antivirus, but there is a whole framework of security, which is called defense in depth kind of security that gets applied, and there's a framework for it. So great career, great awareness. I think threats are there, but there are also solutions to it if implemented properly. So I think technology, my earlier answer, is getting more and more complex as we speak. So very important which partner you choose to deploy your technology for these concerns, right? And the second thing was, I think you're concerned about your jobs. Again, an app point, it cannot be ignored. Automation is here. So we cannot just sit back and say it's not going to get affected. Yes, it is going to get affected. As students, what do you do? So, one of the slides, my concluding one, said that you need to keep in touch with technology. I'll give you give you an example. If you're pursuing accounts, you're trying to be a CA or trying to do accounting or any of that or finance, I would highly suggest that other than your CA and your BComs and your BBAs and MBAs, right, that one goes and does a nano degree in blockchain, because I think those two go hand in hand. If you look at the future systems of today, they will be blockchain enabled. Don't confuse blockchain with crypto. Crypto is completely different. Blockchain is a technology, and goes hand in hand with finance and numbering, with complete audit. So look at it as an enabler, right? So look at your field, look what technology applies. Please learn that technology so both of you can become valuable as we go, in the future work world. So I hope that answers.
No, definitely. Thank you so much for touching that topic so deeply. Ayush in the chat has said that there are many trends, like you spoke about, of course, which are coming up due to these digital changes. So, which trend do you think, um, he should take most advantage of, and what do you spend time learning? Maybe a bit of insight into what companies are looking at greatly. Is it 5G, which is going to change the next 10 years or so? Or which trend do you think is like the main prominent trend to focus on and look for in terms of development?
Well, there's so many. If you look at, so I'm going to answer this from a tech perspective, but I'll also like to reflect on the business side of this. Basically, if if you take a look at my slides, and I spoke about the next 10 years, and as we have, I'm not done. I'm not done a deeper presentation on metaverse yet, but I think metaverse is big. I think NFT blockchains are going to be huge in the future. AI, anything touching AI would be big. 5G would be really, really big. IoT, if you want to get into that space, cybersecurity, these are all growth areas. You cannot be a master of all. It took me 20, 25 years to reach here to understand all of these and how they cohesively work. So I would pick one area and really go deep. And there's a lot of certifications and help available in those areas if you look around and pursue those. Okay, so you can pick up any of those 8 or 10 that I've mentioned here. Those were the next 10 years. Okay.
Yes, perfect. He basically added on that he's interested in DeFi and crypto, but mainly that's because of the hype and speculation. So
no, I think crypto is a solid platform. The issue with crypto is it's not regulated, right? So that doesn't make it, that doesn't make it any less valuable or whatever. I think crypto will have its days. It's an open system. It is very honest. You cannot bypass things. It's well audited. I think all the right hooks are there. It just, the issue with crypto is there are exchanges that are coming up around the world, and this is important to understand. The exchanges that are coming up around the world, and there is no central system if things go wrong. So these are private exchanges, and you've invested in crypto, and if those are not the right cryptocurrencies and you invest in the wrong one, and all he has to do, think about how easy this is, has to shut down his server or everyone's money is gone. So you don't want that. You don't want your bank here today, gone tomorrow. It doesn't work like that, right? So it's going to go through its cycles until there is a regulatory framework around it, a global regulatory framework. I think this is where it's going to eventually head. So till then, you're going to see a lot of ups and downs, and we are seeing that right now. And DeFi is the same. DeFi is decentralized finance platforms. Great concept, but you cannot decentralize things and take control at the computer level, right? It won't be successful. My earlier example of blockchain. So DeFi great, crypto also great, but needs good regulations on the top from world authorities. Okay.
Ayush is also asking about decentralized exchanges. How about decentralized exchanges?
I think a great area. I don't doubt the technology, right? If you can do your checks and balances instead of somebody in the at a central location doing it, the system's doing it on its own. That's decentralized. I don't think the issues with decentralized, right? I think these are great exchanges, but to have an overarching framework of regulations is also important, because at the end of the day, it's people's hard-earned money, and somebody needs to be somebody needs to protect it. So that's where the issues are.
Okay, perfect. And Mahesh has a question that he's interested to also hear your thoughts on cyber security with the rise of quantum computing and how that affects.
I think what quantum computing might do is it does more complex algorithms. It goes to one layer deeper than your ones and zeros. I don't want to make it too complicated for the non-techies here, but it goes almost like a level below at a cellular level, if you can of things. And so that quantum computing with the right cybersecurity technologies would be very, very powerful. So for example, in layman's term, we use 256-bit decryption today in the world, and with quantum computing you could go 3x or 4. So the keys to break into security might get harder, but the quantum computing will enable that. Okay, so hopefully that answers.
No, I think you explained it very well to make sure the non-tech people don't get too confused in the room. Ashish has a question. So, are human minds and physical bodies ready to adapt in a world only with technology? Shouldn't its benefits first be available for medical fraternity? And does technology impact assessment?
Can you show me where this is? Because this is worded with multiple things. What he's asking: are human minds and physical bodies ready to adapt in world only with technology? Shouldn't this benefit be available for medical and do technology? So, are you talking about some kind of like? Are you talking about? This is Ashish, right? Are you talking about,
Yes.
Neuralink? Is something like that? Are you talking about, human minds and technology? I'm not understanding the question. Can you please elaborate?
May I, sir? This is Ashish here.
Yes.
So, Ashish, would you want to switch on your video and just ask sir or anything, whatever you're comfortable with?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So, my question is that the humanity had always 24 hours in their span of one day. So now the technology is taking more and more time out of 24 hours. So if going with the today's pace or the future pace in mind, don't you think entire 24 hours will be catered to technology? So are our minds and body will be ready for it?
Well, basically, Ashish, if you watch 24 hours of TV, your mind is not going to be ready for it, right? If you do 24 hours of running, it won't be ready for it. If you do 24 hours of anything. So I think this is a misconception that, it's the one should schedule technology just like anything else in life, not let it rule your life. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't understand your health. Your health doesn't, your health does get affected if you overuse it, but technology doesn't understand your health. So it's like with anything else in life, right? You have to regulate it yourself, right? And use it where you need to use it, right? Have your out of offices, have your breaks, have your time when it's completely off. There are tools now by iPhone on the latest release on iOS 15. If you guys are using that, where notifications are, you can control your notifications, right? Things like that. So, to answer your question, it is going to get more and more available, but you don't need to be instantly available to it. You can take time off and reply after an hour. It's fine. It's still going to be there.
So it sounds very capitalist in nature. So the moment I miss something, I feel that I lost something. So that capitalist tendencies are creeping into my mind now.
Yeah,
but
for
very
sure.
Personally speaking,
that's the for sure. But not all your text messages would be important, are they? It can wait in an hour. You will have to start being strict about it. So if you are taking a break for 3 hours, you should take a break for 3 hours. End of story. Okay. You can't, because otherwise you are, on the other side is AI and machines and stuff like that. You cannot compete with that. It'll always be on. You get it? So if you can prioritize right, you know what's important. And this is very important. If you know what's important, then you prioritize the things that are important to you and focus on that as long as that's done. But things can wait. Always remember this as well.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to be always on. You don't have to answer every WhatsApp message right away. You don't have to. In fact, it'll be better if you do it in batches. You'll be more productive. Trust me, I've tried all sides of this. We've had extensive sessions on this. You'll be more productive if you do it in batches. So take time off, come back to it. Don't respond the whole day. Yeah, things like that.
For sure. For sure. Thank you so much, Niraj, for diving deep into that question and answering it so thoroughly.
Yes. Important one.
Yes, absolutely. I think given how, the younger generations are being impacted with gadgets at such an early age, and how technology, there are cases of people going into depression with mental health issues, etc. I think what Ashish asked was super important about that lack of control which people may have. So I completely agree that it's important to have certain amount of time kept aside, or you must have certain control with technology related activities so that you maintain balance and maintain some sort of sanity.
Yeah, see what happens. You got to use technology. I think a lot of the obsession is, I don't understand. You got to use technology for the use of it. If it's making it helpful, making something better, if things, if it's helping with something, that's the real objective. Yeah, if you're going to get consumed with it, I think if everything is going digitally transformed, you will get overwhelmed, right?
Perfect. And another question which was asked in the chat by Mahesh is that what is the metaverse? I think he was inspired by that line you were talking about, not bringing up the metaverse at all, and having a separate PowerPoint for that. So do you think you could briefly touch on that in a couple of minutes or something in language which everyone will understand?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna take a crack at it because it's a difficult topic, but I'm gonna try and simplify it. I'm gonna try and simplify it for you guys. There's a term called NFT. Have people on this group heard of what an NFT is? Because metaverse and NFT go together. So if you can just, if somebody's heard about it, can you just chat saying yes? So I at least know that sort of. Okay, so I get a sort of from there. Yes. Okay. Mahesh knows what it is. Art can be used, good, or media, or royalties. Okay, so concept is there, but let me go deeper into. See, Tanmay says no clue. He just Googled again. Mahesh just Googled again. So yeah, look, it's basically what metaverse is, and I think Facebook did the right thing by changing their name. As we go into 5G, if you listen to my slides, there was a little journey we started in the last 10, 15 years where things are heading. And as we go into 5G, one of the biggest problems the world is having today is we don't have enough bandwidth. You cannot do real-time, immersive, HD video on the iPhone on 4G. Yeah, you're going to start getting buffering. You could, but then when you have 5 screens together, 5 people talking on a video conference, start jamming up. There are limitations on the bandwidth today. 5G is about 100 times faster than 4G when it's fully deployed with its with its power, right? 5G with its power. What's going to happen is with this kind of bandwidth, you can have multiple real-time immersive experiences. So your VR and your AR, I think, down the line, you're going to see a couple of big companies. They're already playing in it, but you will see Google Glasses is one of it. Apple Glasses is coming out and stuff like that. You're going to have digitally enhanced immersive experiences, for video conferencing, things like that. So metaverse, what it's trying to tell you is that things are going to get 3-dimensional. in it. It's not just your black screen and your thing, but there's a three-dimensional world out there. Now, where does it get important? Okay, is this where it gets important is this thing about NFTs, right? NFT is very important. Now, the easiest way to explain NFT is, I don't know if you guys have heard of Madison Square Garden out of New York. They have concerts, right? And you'll have, say, an Adele performing at Madison Square Garden. Now, what you could do is, there'll be a digital version of this show because they're going to video it, they're going to put it on the internet. Okay, now you're on the metaverse. The show is in the metaverse, VR glasses or on your digital screen. How do you make money out of it? If you bought the NFT right of Madison Square Garden, of Adele's show, every time Adele performed there, all of the royalties would come to you. Okay, so you're going to now start creating digital assets inside the metaverse. For example, that's one example. Second example is, there was a record sale of $2.5 million of land being sold on an NFT. Last week, there was a yacht sold at $650,000. I was laughing because that's just crazy, but you get a sense of where things are heading with this. Hopefully I answered that question.
Thank you so much. I mean, at least that was a more simpler understanding than what I would find on Google for the same topic. So really appreciate that. So do we have any more questions for Niraj ji with relation to tech, with relation to any of the topics covered, anything else? Pallavi is saying in the chat that there have been amazing insights in digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a difficult topic. Hopefully people grasped it and stuff. Yeah.
And Mahesh is asking, what can companies do to use the metaverse? I think he's very interested now, and you have to come and give your...
Everything you can do in the real world, you will be able to do it in the metaverse. So, for example, I'll give you a gaming express. Somebody put gaming in here. If you were playing a game and every time a car was on the expressway or the highway in the game and you were driving it, there would be digital signages there, and you could have McDonald's or Coke do their advertising there, right, inside the video game. But these are digitally inserted in there. So that's another NFT kind of example of where the metaverse is heading. Land is being sold, so it's almost like a licensed title. Now, where it does get, again, goes back to how blockchain was. Unless a really big company like Facebook or Google is doing the transactions, I wouldn't do metaverse transactions right now on smaller platforms. Okay, because it comes back to the same issue. It's decentralized, no control, etc.
Yes, see, I think he has quite a few follow-up questions. So
Okay.
he's asking, would there be multiple metaverses? Because this sounds like SIMS, which they used to play a long time ago.
Yes, there could be multiple metaverse. Depends on, like, Facebook could have its own metaverse. Google could have its own metaverse. Some other group could have its own metaverse. Or they could all get interrelated at some point. So we'll have to wait and see where this evolves.
Correct. And digital land has, unlimited supply of value, Mahesh says. So what would be the value of such form of ownership?
See, basically, digital land has unlimited supply, but NFT-based digital land has limited supply. I don't know if you understood that concept. Okay, if it's NFT based and if it's part of an exchange that is a legitimate exchange, then there's only limited number of that land available. There's only one of that land of that kind with that NFT available. So yeah, you could have multiple lands and endless lands in the digital world, but your money-making land will only be with the one with the NFT.
Got it. I hope that answers your questions, Mahesh, with relation to the metaverse and so many, which is such an interesting topic. Um, oh, he's still a bit confused.
See, basically what it is,
yeah.
I'll give you another example. I want to drive this home because unless you understand the commerce of this, it's not going to help you. Okay. Basically, if you, there'll be land on some digital server in France, in Hong Kong, in here, in there. But the metaverse will only make it valid if you have purchased an NFT. So the only thing you can transact on is that NFT certificate with that digital land. Make sense? Everything else, yeah, you could have, go to a wrong platform and drown your money, but it's not going to be exchangeable.
Correct.
But I would suggest not to do any of these things right now. Let some regulations kick in, let it get a little bit mature.
Yeah, he's saying would the value be speculative? I think, yeah, if there are no regulations.
Of course, it's a demand and supply, right?
And
if you have 10 people, if you have 10 people going after it, the value will go up. It'll be speculative. That's what they want.
Absolutely. But do you think, question, it's still, a good time to go into crypto, considering it's not regulated? And like, is it a good time to enter, exit?
No, I would not. There's all kinds of confusion. I would not get into crypto till things settle down. There are issues. I think our government's also banning a couple of platforms. So there's a lot of shakeout happening. And my earlier comment, you're going to go through these ups and downs, and you don't want to be caught in the wrong end of the ups and downs. Okay, you could go up, but very easily go down as well. So I wouldn't put more than 5% of my wealth, if I'm in crypto right now until things settle down.
Absolutely. I think the traditional stock markets are well regulated.
Yeah, because it's regulated and you can encash. With crypto, you're going to have your highs and lows. So if you're ready for that, that, and especially within India also, we are still trying to regulate this. Things are up in the air. Overnight, I think a lot of exchanges will get wiped out. Now, I don't know, because of this, maybe, I don't know.
Absolutely. I think for the last question, which is just a continuation of your metaverse question, Mahesh was asking that what would be the fundamental value of such a platform, because what would be the future network value of using such a platform, given the royalties, advertising, sources of revenues, etc.
Just like real business, right? Just like real business. If a platform is getting digitally, if a platform's getting digitally popular and there are transactions there, then the value will sustain. If it's a demand and supply thing. So the whoever is building us at this point is the one that attracts the most transactions. Will have a more sustainable model. So same thing. You're watching a concert online versus offline. Offline you pay this, online you pay this. Offline you advertise here, online you'll advertise there. Maybe it'll be a digital banner or whatever. Same business model replicated in the metaverse. So the possibilities are endless. Then you add blockchain and NFT, you start getting an idea where this is heading.
Correct. I think that's the end of the questions, Niraj. Okay, sorry. Someone has asked what are nano degrees. Do you have the time to cover that?
Yeah, basically nano degrees are your 6-month courses that you can take. They're more like diploma courses, but continuous learning courses. So you could do a nano degree in AI. You could do a nano degree in blockchain, after your graduation. So that's a nano degree.
Yeah. And he's asking, how can you find the resources? Sorry, I think the chat is just enjoying the discussion too much. They aren't letting you go.
No worries. I think, stay in touch with your colleges. See if they have programs, get accredited online, research there. There are accredited online nano degrees available. Typically from a university or a college is better than a private player.
Perfect. I think, I think all the questions have been answered. If there's anything else, please post it on chat or you can ask Niraj later. But thank you so much, sir, for coming in and taking out the time to address the students during your busy schedule. that too on a Saturday morning. You've given us 1 hour of one hour of your time, but I think you've left us with a lifetime of thoughts on technology and new tech deceptions that we have to read up on and learn about. So thank you so much. That was such an informative discussion, and I'm sure everyone here would have had a great takeaway from the discussion and to take forward into the next century and how they want to proceed with tech disruptions and what they want to get involved in if they want to enter this sector.
Right.
So
lots of opportunities. Good luck to everybody. Thank you, Vedant, for having me over, and good luck once again to everyone. Okay.
grateful to that.
Take
Thank
care.
you so
Bye-bye.
much. Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.